sure he is.
It's okay, we're waiting. It's not going to start without you.
Sorry about that.
Good evening, everyone. We are going to call the workshop to March 4th, 2025 to order. Sherry, can you take a roll, please?
Mayor Miller,
Present.
Vice Mayor Politis,
Here.
Commissioner Card,
Here.
Commissioner Economos,
Here.
and Commissioner Dembinski is excused.
Okay, thank you. So as we talked about in our last meeting, we are going to have a visioning session that we haven't had anything similar since 2019. And so our city manager, Kurt Swartzlander, is going to get us going on that.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, good afternoon.
It's red, I think it's supposed to be green, so I'll go with until it
No,
dies.
it seems like we can hear you.
Okay.
Gonna last.
Not gonna last, though, is what, yeah. So let's just dive in and see what happens. At a prior commission meeting, commission discussed having a strategic planning session, so I put together a proposed agenda for this workshop, which will be really three different things: a review of the 2019 plan, which I gave you at the last commission meeting, and there's another copy we set before you tonight if you did not bring the one we gave you before. And then a brief staff update on current projects and capital plan implementation. And then we'll look at discussion on desired direction, on like service changes, new services, desired capital projects, things like that. I do want to note that if you approve it at the meeting tonight, we will be doing a Parks Master Plan. We're bringing the contract before you tonight, so I'd like to exclude Parks and Recreation topics tonight because we're doing a whole separate plan on Parks and Recreation stuff. Assuming you approve the contract tonight. So you awarded the bid at the prior meeting, and we brought back a contract tonight at the regular agenda meeting, so we'll discuss. So we won't talk Parks and Rec issues until a later date. I mean, we can, but. So I'd like to just read into the record the vision statement that was created back in 2019 for this city, and it says it's the year 2029. The city of Daytona Beach Shores is a beautiful, well-maintained, vibrant city where life really is better. It has shops and restaurants that serve not just residents, but draw visitors from surrounding areas. And I think my mic just died. Thank you.
Taylor Swift had the same problem.
So, let me.
It
It offers an active environment offering a wide array of recreational activities and special events. It is widely recognized for the transparency and integrity of its local government and the civic engagement of its residents. And in the 2019 strategic plan, the council at the time identified 6 different goals.
Kurt, can we stop before we go forward? I think you and I had a conversation one day, and I don't know if this is the time and place. So this was 5 years ago. You know, I guess I'd like council commission's feedback. You know, do you still like that vision statement? Is there something that you want to change about that? Anything that we need to update? Does it still say who we are? Did we come up with it that day? Is that?
You had multiple sessions with the folks from, I believe it was UCF, that helped kind of facilitate that.
All right,
statement.
if not today, if you guys would take a look at that and see if there's anything that we want to update, or does it still represent us? Okay, I'm sorry, Kurt, go ahead.
Oh, no problem. That's why we're here. So if anybody has anything on that, I'll be glad to jot it down. If not, we'll just go on to the goals. So I'd like to take these one at a time. So goal A vibrant, walkable city of Daytona Beach shores with a redeveloped west side and with destinations for residents and visitors, including shops, sidewalk restaurants, and other local businesses. So how does the commission feel that we did on that goal? And
Not near as well as I had thought that we would. I mean, that's what, when we, so Mark, this is why we put the economic incentives in place. After this meeting, when residents said, they'd like more shops to come in, more restaurants, more things, and we tried to brainstorm and say, what can we do? So right at that time, we came into something, especially on the west side. I think, did we restrict it only to the west side? Do you remember? Or we might not have, because we.
Objective one was to
Pretty much.
define an area, but really we're talking about the west side. I mean, east side is, other than a handful of parcels, is built out.
So we have offered that economic development to the degree that I would have liked, absolutely not. Do we still have on the upper north side empty shops, things that I wish would happen? So I wouldn't say we did very well.
May I say something?
Yes.
Now, don't forget, we had COVID. So, no, I wasn't part of the commission in 2019, but COVID put a big
Yes.
monkey wrench into everything, so that basically stalled all
Good,
that.
great, nice.
So I think I would give the city a pass on that one because of COVID.
So does the commission want to keep that as a defined goal? Do you want to tweak or amend that language?
As Mayor Miller just said, I would like to include the north part of the city on that as well. And it says west, which I would imagine is west of A1A, which would flow north. So, but yeah, as long as that's included, I think that would be fine.
Yeah, that's specifically what we are focusing on, because that's where the majority of the empty buildings were. So that was it. At this time, we were, and I don't know if we put it in here or not, when we did this in 2019, Treasure Island was still in that demolished state.
Yes.
So I know we said we wanted to do something like that. Luckily, we got that torn down. That was the objective, to get it torn down. If we get a piece of property there, or a good, something, condo or hotel, okay, but I know the residents wanted that gone.
So I think that is some of the things, and they're not in the presentation, but you're right. Treasure Island was, I think, a direct result of this. I think the townhomes being built and getting rid of the city-owned piece of property that was the Oceans 25 now was just a grass field. I think that project came out of this as well.
So this is a workshop for us to brainstorm. So I know, Vice Mayor, you were on the commission when we did this. I can't remember if you were able to attend the sessions or not. And I still would like to see, so, we can talk about yes, I'd like to keep this on there, but what else can we do to get those buildings occupied? We offered that incentive. We've made calls, Nancy Maddox goes to Team Volusia, announces, I think Stuart put together a list of empty buildings, so if anyone ever calls to see what they can lease, we have that. What other things can we do to make it a vibrant, walkable area?
Madam Mayor, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Well, actually, I want to make a statement. Actually, I did attend all that. I think I've had pretty good attendance. I think Jerry will tell you I probably missed maybe 2 meetings in the past, 5, 6 years I've been here, maybe 3 at the most.
I'm sorry, it was a special meeting during the day. Do you think you?
Oh, yeah, I was here.
Okay, good.
And you got to understand something, and not to sound arrogant or a jerk, but I've run a business before with my family, and I've had businesses. We've done, as a city, I think, we've given the most incentives to businesses to attract them here. No question about it. And I hear it from other businessmen. And also, Stuart and the staff at City Hall is very friendly, very open, very transparent, and very accommodating. They want to assist. Okay, this is what you want to do? Okay, I think it's within the spirit of what we would like to have in the city. Let's work with you and try and get it done. But what you have to understand is the beach side, all the way from Dunlawton, all the way up to Granada, has had a difficult time in evolving into what we would like to see here on the shores. And it's not a function of the shores, it's a function of the beach side. You don't see any more fast food franchises up and down here, with the exception of the Burger King. And the only reason why you only see the Burger King, because they have a long-term lease, but because they don't have a high enough traffic count to justify the investment that that franchisee has to make, number one. Number two, because it is it's not a consistent tourism all year round, and not a consistent patronage all year round. So these mom and pops really have a tough time. There are some things in the city hall planning department, in the permitting department, that may come to fruition, that may come before us as they're trying to get out of, like Commissioner Chris said, about the evolution of the west side and what we try and do to try and help them. But, you know, there's only so much we can do. I mean, do you think we want to add more money? I don't know if the citizens would like us to do that. Number two, would it make a difference? I know down there towards the north side, there was that big white building that had a whole bunch of violations, and the guy foreclosed, and now he's fixing it up to try and offer it for sale or for lease. And I know there's a lot of vacant properties along the way, but there's only so much we can do as a city. Sometimes the economy kind of dictates that evolution on the west side, and that's why it's always been a blight from Dunlawton all the way up to Granada. But I can't begin to tell you how many people compliment the city, how pro-city, because they go to Daytona, and it's horrific over there. So, you know, all these goals that we have here and all these objectives, I think they're still relevant. I don't think anything needs tweaking. I know on the south side, that one plaza they used to have, the Surfside Tavern, now they're going to open up another thing called the Monkey Business, or Monkey Affairs, or I don't know.
Monkey business.
Monkey Business.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting what that becomes, but unfortunately, that landlord could do a better job of bringing up the aesthetics. And so I remember one time we were in here, and I think the code enforcement people, and it's hard to bear down on buildings, but they do a good job. I mean, they say, if it looks blighted, or if it doesn't look right, we need you to improve it to try and achieve the standards that we want, because we drive up and down A1A, and you see what looks nice and what doesn't. But to address some of your concerns and what you said about this goal A, or this part one, I think we're doing the best we can.
Do we need to add, so you said tweak anything, do we need to add anything? And I also want to say, so Commissioner Economos said that we slowed down because of COVID, but remember, we had Ian, Nicole, and not so much that affected us, but Milton. That was devastating to us. So, you know, I guess all in all, if you look past 5 years and we had COVID for a year and a half, 2 years almost, 2 hurricanes, 3 hurricanes, yes, we're doing okay. I just want to see, was there anything else anyone can think of how we could add new businesses? And you are exactly right, Vice Mayor. We have been on the phone with Panera's, places like that, Chick-fil-A, and it's you have to have the number of traffic going by, and we just don't have it. So with that in mind, and then there's another thing, and I'm hoping maybe I'll bring it up at Coffee with the Mayor, because we have a little bigger audience than we do here. People in the shores have to realize we cannot rely on our tourists to support mom and pop things. That's maybe one of the reasons why restaurants don't do very well here. I understand at Red Lobster there's going to be maybe Sturkin House. Is it a Caribbean buffet? Does anyone know? Caribbean buffet. Okay, it's a buffet. Caribbean, Jamaica, well, something. So we have to impress upon people, you're asking for restaurants to come in, you're asking them for business to come in. Yeah, during tourist season, they're probably going to do okay, but we need somebody 12 months out of the year to support them. And, you know, I'm hoping people understand that.
May I say one more thing?
Sure.
Now, the other thing is, I think we have to be happy with who we are. We're not New Smyrna Beach. We don't have Canal Street, where we have all of those shops where you can just leisurely take your time and cross the street and do that shopping, or even DeLand. So we're not built that way. So we're basically 5.5 miles on A1A, and you know, there are shops that you can walk to, but not continuously like somewhere on Canal Street. So I don't know how to improve that without rezoning and redeveloping, and I don't think that's what we're looking to do. But you know, I know we've talked about adding crosswalks from some of the, maybe from the Delta or somewhere around there to different places, but I understand that's FDOT and that takes a lot of time.
That's the next
to-
item.
Okay, to do that. That might help a little bit with some of the folks. Although Publix gets a lot of traffic from visitors who are staying in the Oceans Building or whoever else that walk across the street. Hopefully Mulligan's, the new putt-putt golf is getting business from people that are staying at Delta and other places. It seems to always be full. But again, I understand there's a lot of logistics with doing that. We can't just say, you know, DOT, go ahead and put a crosswalk here. I know it doesn't work that way, but that might help a little bit, and I know those are in the works. But again, you know, we're just not built like a lot of these other cities, like Winter Park is. You know, they have Park Avenue, DeLand is DeLand. New Smyrna has Canal Street. We're just not built that way. So I don't know if it's realistic for us to really get to that point. We're not, you know.
So all in all, I guess everyone's pretty happy. We want to leave this like it is. We can't.
I think it's still relevant.
Yeah. And to your point, and Kurt's going to go over it too, we had originally thought that crosswalk was going to be right at Sea Spray where Sunoco is. Because right across the street is a walkover, a county walkover to the beach. And more to your point, it's going to be, from what we saw when they were here,
It's going to be more of a, what they call a mid-block crossing.
it will be more by Pappas/Giannini Plaza.
It'll be right, kind of right in the middle of
It is
their
right in the
plaza.
middle, so.
So halfway between the golf course and Sea Spray, the south.
So it is going to be in there, but
DOT
anyway.
likes mid-block crossings.
So if no one else, I just want to make sure that we look these over, that we talk about them. If we feel like nothing's changed there, we've done everything we can, and I think we've done a lot. Then we'll move on. I think Kurt, unless staff or someone else has anything else to say on
We
this.
can move on to B.
No, I agree.
Yes.
So pedestrian and vehicle safety on State Road A1A. We've done a lot of things offhand, like we've partnered with Best Foot Forward for crosswalk safety. We know we have the reputation for getting a lot of tickets for speeding. I don't know that we actually do anymore, but we still have the reputation.
And they have the strictly enforced on a lot of the speed limit signs, so.
So, Chief, can you address that? You've been here, how many years, 30 years you've been here, right?
33.
33. So do you see an increase, or do we still have the reputation out there? Tell me about that.
Hopefully, we still have the reputation. I hear it regularly. We try not to do anything that would diminish that. We don't write the number of tickets that we used to because we also don't have the traffic that we used to. But further what the manager said, in addition to Best Foot Forward, every day our officers are out sitting at the crosswalks, watching. It's difficult to find violations because you just don't have the number of pedestrians, and that adds to the danger of it. We're not used to seeing people crossing the road there. But we work on that, and we also, in addition to the operations we do with Best Foot Forward, we run our own also.
Thank you.
So in addition, DOT, we had a meeting 2 weeks ago, I think it was, where they came, actually they spoke, I think, at the last coffee with the mayor, but then they did a public meeting where they're going to be repaving A1A from, what is it called, Davis? Dunlawton up to Davis, I think it is, in Daytona. Does that sound right, Stuart? Davis? Thank you.
Wow, I don't think I could find Davis if I had to. Tell me what's on the corner of Davis and A1A.
It's the side road, just south of International Speedway.
Oh, all right. That's why. So all the way into Daytona.
All the way into Daytona, yes. And as part of that, they're going to be upgrading and adding crosswalks. It'll be, so for example, the one at City Hall, you see that it has solar panels up there for the flashing lights, but there are no lights in the ground like Peck. What they told us was they did solar as a temporary, and when they come in and repave, then they will put the in-ground lighting in. They don't want to put it in and then, mill it up. So we will get the in-ground lighting. They'll add, it'll be its total improvements at 5 different locations. ABC, Peck, Publix, well, Peck is pretty good. Belmead, Sea Spray, I think, am I missing one, Stuart?
City Hall.
Oh, City Hall, yeah.
The next one they had on the list, maybe you're thinking of, was Poinsettia, and then they figured out that was Daytona. So maybe.
That may be
they're
what I'm thinking of,
Thinking
yes.
of all of them, no. So for those of you who weren't there, I know Commissioner Card was there. They came in, did a wonderful, wonderful presentation. Our former PIO, Cindy Lane, was there because now that is her department, the communications, so.
We also had talks at length with them about two things, the U-turn at Dunlawton.
Yes.
And we noticed last week that the signs are back up on the post on Dunlawton, and then on the mast arm, on the beach approach mast arm, but also the S-curve. And, you know, they were willing to look at that, because we've had some fatalities there, so they're willing to look at that and see when they do that paving project, if it's additional signage, or if there's some way to maybe smooth that out, change that flow of traffic a little bit in that area. But, it's always, I think, going to be a hard area. But they are looking at it.
I was impressed that it looked like they were very, very open to feedback.
Yes.
You know, if you see an area that you think needs another crosswalk, because now some people would like a crosswalk at every single intersection on A1A. That's not going to happen. And they talked about that they do traffic studies, different times of the day, so I was really impressed. And then about six of them were there the next night, manning tables if people wanted to come in and ask questions. They had wonderful maps of exactly where everything was going to go.
And just for the record, they said they don't plan on, final design's not done, but if you've been up in Ormond, they have the raised crosswalks. They said they didn't think they were going to be doing any of those in the shores.
Do we know why?
Final design not done yet. That was their,
Why did they think it would work in Ormond? Maybe they don't like it in Ormond and change their mind.
I'm not sure why, but they did always give me the caveat when I suggested different things, so final design's not done yet. So,
And if you get the feedback like I do, the public's light is needing a part. Stuart, we're still waiting for parts.
Yes.
Still waiting for parts. So I understand if you are on the east side, you can push it, and that east side works. Does it only work halfway or the whole way?
That's my understanding, because the feature is not there on the west side.
Okay.
Wow, that's scary. False
But
sense of security.
it's been like this since October?
since Milton, yes.
Wow, that's scary.
Because that's a heavily used one. Now, what about the lights right out here? Do they work in front of City Hall? Both sides?
Those lights all work, but there's no in-ground lighting.
Okay.
So, but those solar panels, just to add to that, once they do that project, those solar panels will go away because they'll have permanent electric installed versus the solar. They just went solar for the short term. So those big, tall, ugly poles will be gone.
So going over item B, Kurt, I think we've done a wonderful job along with Chief Fowler's officers of enforcing. You know, Stuart has reached out to DOT several times. We have a lot of awareness. We talk about this very often. And with the new, if we're getting 4 or 5, whatever it is, I just think we've more than fulfilled this. So do we still need to?
So I have a slide later on that I'll ask you to keep, remove, or add, or amend, but we're kind of doing that here. So are you proposing to remove that, goal B?
I think we
Strike
need
it.
to maintain, I don't think there's anything else above this we need to do, so is it still a goal if I feel like it's done?
Is it done yet?
Well, I mean,
So, if I may, how about we change it to continue, I guess, something along that line, rather than just addressing pedestrian and vehicle safety, but to continue that. So it's a continuation, not like it's a new.
stop, start, continue, so. I
Continue
think
to
the goal
implement.
is to continue,
Continue
yeah.
to implement, because it's still ongoing.
Yes.
Hey, can I ask a question? I understand many of the people that use our roads and crosswalks are not residents, and they're here for a week or two at a time, maybe a month. And if we try to give them some kind of awareness, they may be gone, and we're dealing with a whole new group of people. Is that something that we can realistically do with the type of community that we have, where a lot of people are coming in and out? I don't know if that's a Chief Fowler question, or, because one thing that I see is pedestrians 10 feet away from a crosswalk not using it. And I can understand if they're, 50 yards or 100 yards away, they're not, they may not do that, but they're so close, they're just feet away, and they do not use it. And I think I may have brought this up before, but I was heading south on A1A near, I think it was a crosswalk near City Hall, and I had stopped, there was a lady wearing headphones, her head was down, she was walking, and she goes to cross, she's got her headphones on, I can see in my rearview mirror, there's a big pickup truck come in the left lane, and I had to honk for that truck to stop, and then to get that lady's attention, because she would have been killed. I mean, she wasn't paying attention, she was just looking down, walking, and so I just don't know if it's realistic really to educate people on safe crossing.
As a city, we do that all the time. The last time they did one, and I asked the chief for the stats, I asked him how many were Shores residents, how many were either, non-Volusia or out of state, and it was about 50-50.
How do we do that? How are we going about that? To
So
educate?
the education was where they do the stops. They have officers that walk,
Okay.
or it's the best foot forward folks come out and walk it as well, and then they stop, and I think Chief's dying to answer something here, so good.
First, thank you for pointing out that it's an ongoing problem, and it turns over every week. I try and bring that up as much as possible when we speak publicly about this, because it is our biggest complaint that we receive. As the manager said, it's about 50-50, but we engage in educating not only the drivers that we stop that make violations, but also the pedestrians. As you pointed out, coincidentally, I just saw a former member of the council not using a crosswalk on my way here today. So, it's a pervasive problem, but we do make contact with pedestrians. We hand out flyers. We have information for them that explains the law. It's just an ongoing problem.
And I think we talk about that too, although somebody told me I was wrong. I think at the last meeting I said, we can have educational meetings, we can call people in, we can go to every condo, but when that person comes down, I think I said Michigan, or I don't know where I said from, how do we educate them? How do they know? And didn't somebody stand up and say, it's not the visitors, it's all right, so it's 50-50, but I think 50-50 is probably, but hopefully we can get to the people that do live here. Lord knows for as many times when we talk about it, they should know, but like Commissioner Kaminsky, was that a problem years ago with, crosswalks, people?
Yes, it's always been a problem here.
Some things never change.
All right, so do you want to put continue in?
Continue to implement was, I think, some of the suggested language. I mean, we'll word craft some stuff to staff. And we're also, it's on my later slides, but as you know, we have 2 meetings planned for the public as well, so we'll take their input on their desires and things. So I imagine we're going to do a meeting in the city without crosswalks coming up, so I'm sure we'll have lots of discussion on that.
But I'm fine with goal B, just to continue.
Goal C, and I just skipped to the next slide because I wanted to point out something on these goals. The commission or the council at the time wanted to focus on A and C. Not that they were all any less important, but at the time the council said their priorities were A and C. So C being the next one is transparency in government and effective communication among elected officials and staff of the city of Daytona Beach Shores, its residents and businesses. I believe this was a priority for Councilmember Bryan. This is one of his big things back in the day. I believe we have done a lot of the objectives that are listed in this, things like our city website, where you can sign up and receive emails every time we do calendar updates or special events. Even the agenda, you can pick and choose which topics you want to find out about. We've added Shores Alert. We have our constant contact with the condos. We obviously still are doing the Pelican. We've added things, and it's in my slide later, but the Just FOIA software, which is our public records request software. So we've done a lot of things for transparency purposes. So I don't know if this is, again, asking keep, add, remove, amend.
I think probably, and I know that Nancy Maddox and Commissioner Card have been going out too, but, you know, I don't know if we have anything that we regularly maybe have something here. You know, we do have residents coming in, but I don't know if we, on C4, if we specifically reached out to the businesses. You know, perhaps, how do you feel about having something inviting the businesses in?
Well, that's one of the things that we've heard repeatedly, that they wanted to do something collaboration-wise. They wanted to have some, so they can bounce ideas off of our business. I don't know what we would do. Would it be upstairs? Would it be over in the city park where they meet and they basically, so it was kind of left in limbo what they really were looking for. But we were, Director and I were over, stopped by, I think, 5 properties the other day, and 3 of them were not open. One of them didn't speak English, so we ran into a couple of snags there. But we got a few things accomplished. We had one that asked for, can you help us out with this? We went to everybody and said, what can we do for you? And one of them said, can you help me out with this? And within hours, Stuart and his team had it taken care of, and I think the guy was happy. I reached out to him the next day. He did not return my phone call, but I wanted to say, we're trying to help you out, anything we can do within reason. And I know the staff jumped on it immediately and jumped through the hoops to help the guy out, so thank you.
You think we need a more formalized, so that twice a year, once a year, whatever it is, that we, you know, invite the businesses in, and it doesn't really matter if it's upstairs, the park, or wherever it is, just trying to get them together, maybe for them to share best practices, let them know what we are doing, and then ask them, you know, how we can help.
I mean, it wouldn't hurt. I mean, the same ask from us is, how can we get more business to our, and that's something that Commissioner Politis brings up, is that on the beach side, there's nobody coming from the east, from the ocean, coming over. Is that they've got to cross the bridge, we don't have a high enough count rate, so we're dealing with what we're dealing with. I think that it's just over time, as we get more people in our community, we'll end up having these businesses if they can hold on. And that's the question. So, yes, I don't think that's a bad thing. Why not?
So where would you want us to put like that in a parking lot? That might be the only thing under C that I see.
I'm just going to add, one of the things that I think that came out of this was the city has become very active with the Port Orange South Daytona Chamber. We have the Chamber Annex here in the city. You know, we'll ask you again, I think the contract is up this October 1st or September 30th. So that'll be another budget question along the lines of the business community. Do we want to continue having an annex? But I think that partnership came from this discussion of a way to reach the business community through some existing resources.
Previously, we were not a member of them, and that's great. Again, we'll wait till that discussion comes up, but I'd probably like some numbers on that, like how many days a week it's manned. Quite honestly, Kurt, I hardly ever see anyone there. And then if it is manned, you know, what have they brought in? Have they brought in referrals? What have they done? Okay, do you see anything else that you want to add to goal C besides possibly looking into doing something with the businesses? Do you feel there's more of a way that we can be more transparent to our residents? I'm sure you've all gotten the, you know, that they can reach out to all of us or one of us, those messages. So we do have that if they want to put something on there. And I know one of us always.
The online submittals.
Yes.
I think we all get those. I get them as well. So we have that. We have many ways. We are looking at some new software that C-Click, what is it? C-Click Fix. It's like, if you see something out there, light pole out or whatever, you can submit it on, through this software package. Right now, people submit it through that online form. I get a lot of those, and usually those come to me, and I just forward them to Stuart and say, hey, you know, can you look at this, please?
And they're still calling the city hall and.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Because some of these folks are 70 and plus, they didn't grow up with computers, they don't have it, I'm running into that all the time. And they pick up the phone and they call.
They pick up the phone, or they come in, and you know, we still want to keep all those facets as well, but we're trying to broaden their ability to communicate with us electronically. I mean, that's where the world is heading.
Okay, Mike.
So, okay, ready to go on to D? Well, actually, we're going to skip D because that will be done as part of the Parks Master Plan. So, jumping on to E, a positive cooperative relationship with Volusia County that promotes the early identification and cooperative resolution of issues. I would like to say that I think this situation has done a complete 180 since this was done. We were, at the time, the city actually, I think, was maybe even being sued. I don't know if that lawsuit was settled or not at this time, but we did not have a good relationship with the county. And it wasn't just us. That was pretty much every city in the county, I think, had that issue with the county at the time. I like to believe that has changed. I know at staff level, I can call the manager or the deputy manager or, you know, their subordinates at any time, and we work together. You've got an item on the agenda tonight. We're all working together on the Sanibel Conduit Amelia Approach piece of property. That was a very friendly thing. It was not contentious or anything. We've done lots of things with them, especially since the storms. You know, we've worked very well together on sand issues. We're going to hear about the sand restoration tomorrow at Coffee with the Mayor. So I think we have a great relationship. So,
And I think we all work very well with our county District 2, Matt Reinhardt. In fact, he might be here for the meeting tonight. So I think everyone here feels very comfortable reaching out to him with issues. We, again, you know, let me step back. When I first took over, we had a terrible relationship with the county. And it was because of property or whatever it was. And I said, we need them a lot more than they need us. And I think, you know, we took steps to do that. Billy Wheeler was instrumental in reaching out to her and bridging that gap. So I feel like we're doing a great job with E. Does anyone have anything else to say about that?
No, other than I think maybe to anticipate our future, not just put Volusia County and also put with state government as well, because we do have good relationships with the legislature and people there, so why not include them as well? So that when people read this, they realize we got it going on. You know, we're at the different levels of government and the relationships that we built.
And you're very, very true on that. We had to get a good relationship with the state through DEP for all that work that was taking place on the beach. So that's perfect. Thank you for including that about the state.
anything else on E? F is something we always hear about here, and that's high levels of service for our public safety services. So any changes or concerns on that?
I'd like to, I know we always call out public safety too, but I get so many compliments on the public works for the way that they maintain the streets and the grass and all of that. So if we are going to be a continued, I'd like to, I think, include public works in there as well. Anyone have anything on that? Just the cleanliness of our city. Anything else on F?
Okay, keep rolling. We kind of did this as we went, but this was going to be my last slide on the plan to keep and then remove or add. Are there any goals that we did not discuss that you would like to add?
I have a couple. Back to D, and I forgot to say it, when we sit down with the chamber, I remember Sandy Cook came up and said, you know, we should have a brochure that maybe someone can fund or advertisers can fund and publish it and put it in the hotels or in the condos where it promotes all the businesses. You got Millie's, you got this, you got that, you got boom, 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 and I don't know if that was ever followed through.
It's in process.
In process, okay. Number two. I'll get to number two, but I forgot it. See, that's what happens when you get old. All right, whoever else has got some, I'll
All
think
right,
of
we'll
it.
be thinking while we're, okay. I would, and we've done a remarkable job about this. I remember at one time, previous mayor, Don Large, came up to me, you don't apply for enough grants. You always need to be getting more money, always doing that. I just.
Yeah, hold that thought, I've got slides on.
I'll use slides on that, okay. Will that be a goal? When you asked about goal.
Not really a goal, but it's, I don't know that we have the staff to do any more grants in debt.
Because I'm thinking we're doing a wonderful job.
If you, when I get to that slide, you'll see we would have to hire some more staff to get stuff done if we were to apply for that many more grants.
Okay, well then, can I say one other thing, and if you
Yes.
want me to hold that too? All right, appropriations. I know last year when we went before, we got the lobbyist for appropriations, and we thought we were getting what we wanted, and then it was vetoed by I think we should always be looking to see what funds we need, working 3 years, 5 years, 10 years ahead, and asking for appropriations. There shouldn't be any year we
So-
come up with something.
Part of, if you remember back to this budget year, we moved into a separate fund. We created the Capital Improvement Fund, and that was part of the thinking behind creating that. It's getting projects clearly defined for the next 5 years, and then that helps us define that ask for each year. And I will discuss about our current year's legislative ask next.
So I do not have any other goals. Does anyone else have any goals they would like to add?
I remembered my other
Okay.
ones. Do we incorporate somewhere in all this, Kurt, capital improvement, sewer, water providing, all that stuff?
That's coming up.
That's coming up, never mind.
So
Okay.
the next section is actually a staff update on where we're at on quite a few things. So if I may?
Yes.
Okay. So unfortunately, since I've been the city manager, probably the majority of my time has been spent on hurricane recovery. So, we had Ian and Nicole. I was here about 4 months when Ian and Nicole hit. Chief, that was about the time you retired. Then we've had Milton, which undid a lot of work that we had done on things like dune walkovers and those kind of things, or further damaged some walkovers. We're still trying to get some things repaired and working on it, but that's been a big part of staff's time, has been hurricane recovery, especially Stewart's folks. It's been a lot of their efforts and, little things that pop up here and there, whether it's like, there's still a gutter damaged out here on the side of this building, but that's in the works. It's identified, it's in process. But one of the other big things we did, and you'll see that we received a grant for it, it's in process, a vulnerability assessment. That's really our resiliency study. We partnered with the East Central Florida Regional Planning Council. They are also doing the counties. That's why we went with them, because we have to submit ours to the county, and the county has to submit a county-wide plan to the state. It's in process. There have been multiple meetings, and that is to address flooding, sea level rise, all those kinds of things. I am not an expert on that, or a subject matter expert on any of that, so they will probably come and present when they get their final report done. Hoping by the end of this year, but more likely the first quarter of 2026, they will have that done. So,
Did we partner with American Flood at all?
not for this purpose. They're more of an advocacy type location. This is actually doing the study and identifying locations and potential projects, ways to improve things.
So none of the grant we got was through them.
Well, we received a $130,000 grant from the state to fund this. So we are not actually paying anything for this vulnerability assessment. The state actually gave us a full grant for that.
Okay.
The next big thing we have coming up is the Parks Master Plan. You approve the proposal. They have estimated about 6 months to get that done, and we are starting that right away. So if approved, we'll be on the phone with them tomorrow and trying to kick that off. And that addresses all of our parks. How can we improve our parks and recreational, not just the physical parks, but also programs. And we're going to have meetings with the public as well to hear what do they want. So they're
Where's the parks again, like the Andronopolis? Do we have 5, 6?
So McElroy, Andronopolis, Beachcomber, Fenari, St. Kitts, Pecos County.
That's right, I forgot.
So it's really, those will be the main focus. We technically have maintenance on the little park, Sunset Park, but we don't own that one.